Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome to an exploration video of a game called The Mighty Endeavor. This is the Western Front of World War II, 1944 to 1945. So what do I mean by exploration video? So basically what I mean is I've never played this game before. I have just recently played my first game in the series, which I'll talk about in a minute. And I want to learn this game. So I want to learn this series. I want to become more familiar with the series because my play of it a couple of weeks ago was very satisfactory, and I liked it a lot. So I want to get into some more games in this series. So series, what do I mean by that? So this is a part of the Standard Combat series from Multiman Publishing. The Gamers is the brand name on this this series, I guess. So this is, when you buy one of these games, each game will come with a series rule book, which is 8 pages, 7 pages of actual rules, and then it will come with a game-specific rule book, which in this case is 16 pages, and about 14 of that is actual stuff. Make that 15. About 7 of that is rules and players' note is setup and players' notes and stuff like that, and the rest of it is rules. So there's about 7 pages of rules, a little over 7 pages of rules in here. So it seems, from what I've seen, to be pretty typical of Standard Combat Series games to have about 16 pages of total rules in the to digest for that game. Now, the thing is though that like the series rules, for example, there are parts of the series rules that we're not going to use for the Mighty Endeavor because they just don't apply to the SCS game at this scale. The same thing might apply to the Bastogne, which is very, I would say, sort of grand tactical game. The units are like companies. You don't use supply rules in that. So here we're not going to use barrage combat at all, for example. So there are chunks of this that we won't use. The rules are explained in a fairly wordy but quite clear way, I think. So don't even let 16 pages of rules scare you off. And it's a very easy system. It is a good system, I think, to introduce people to Hex Encounter wargaming with. Maybe coming in from something a little less traditionally wargamey, like a Commands and Colors type thing, that sort of thing. So we're going to progress through the video here, and I'll show you briefly the map. Of course, I'm doing this with Vassal. I have a number of reasons for doing that. For one, it's a lot less overhead for me to make the videos. Now that does mean that they will be somewhat stream of consciousness, completely unedited. You will undoubtedly have to endure me looking up rules in here, so I apologize for that, but the point of this is for me to learn the game and for hopefully anybody interested to learn the game along with me, which makes me want to mention that if you are familiar with the Standard Combat System rules, or the Mighty Endeavor in particular, and you spot rules mistakes in the video, do point them out in the comments. So this is the battle for Western Europe between the Western Allies and the Germans. We're not going to deal with this East Front stuff. I guess I'll mention that. So the main game here is this map that has France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and a little slice of Germany. The expanded edition, which is the version that is currently available, also adds this map of Brittany, which, hey, that's great, and also this huge map of the rest of Germany. So the idea here is that there is an additional scenario in which one player will play the Western Allies and the Soviets and the Germans facing the Soviets on the East Front, and the other player will play the Germans facing the Western Allies in the West and the Soviets. It's an interesting idea. It is inspired by an old game called Battle for Germany by SPI back in the early 70s. I think the reason that worked for Battle for Germany, though, is because Battle for Germany is quite small. This is a reasonably larger game. I wouldn't call it a monster, but I mean, just in terms of weight of components and size of the map and all that, it's decent sized. So I see this more as, ignoring this whole East Front business, I see this more as a SCS answer to the old Avalon Hill Fortress Europa than anything else, because that's about what it covers. If we zoom into the units, so we have right now the Germans are kind of set up in what will be their defending positions, and the Allies are in one of two boxes. The England box up here, and there's a Mediterranean box down here. Okay, so we will conduct an invasion or series of invasions in the first turn. There are special rules for that we'll get into, but briefly, the brown guys are the UK. The somewhat lighter brown guys are the Canadians. And this we have, is this a Canadian unit? This appears to be, these are HQs. There are actually HQs in this game. We'll see how they work. I'm not 100% sure I understand it yet, but we'll get to that in the next episode, which will be the actual gameplay. The green guys are Americans. The blue are Free French. This darker red is the Polish, and obviously the gray guys are Germans. This sort of blue-gray are Luftwaffe. The black guys are Waffen-SS. So, and the pretty much everything you need is on the map too. I mean, you got the beach classes thing. You got the complete terrain effects chart down here at the bottom. In a very awkward place as far as the vassal module is concerned. You have the combat results table, but we'll use the combat results table here, I think. Yeah, we'll be referring to these tables instead, so it's just a little easier. And I think the bars on this make this easier to read. That was a complaint I had with Bastogne. They didn't put these like bars on it, so you had to kind of trace it with your finger physically across the combat results table, which I didn't like. So, the units. So this is not quite applicable to all Standard Combat Series games, but in general, the first number on the counter is the attack strength. The second number is the defense strength. The third number is the movement. If there is a yellow band across the statistics, it is an exploit-capable unit. We'll get to that when we get to exploitation. The little number in the yellow circle is the number of steps that the unit has. I don't know if there are more than 2-step units in this game yet. I assume we'll find out. But basically, so we get this Polish unit here, and it takes a hit. We're going to flip it to its reduced strength side, which then only has 1 step. So let's flip that back. And then I've kind of rearranged this from the way the vassal module comes, where they're all just kind of sit here in a big disorganized pile. I'm way too OCD for that kind of nonsense. So this will be a little easier. We do have these beachport deals too. I pulled out some air chits because we're going to have to deal with that. We have a total of 12 airdrops available, I think. Let me verify that that's actually the case. There are, of course, multiple scenarios of varying sizes to this game, so we have 12 airdrop points, 6 emergency attacks. We'll get to that, I'm sure, and we get 6 beach ports. So now, an interesting thing here, though, is that we're not obligated to invade here in Normandy, where the Allies historically invaded. We can invade in all kinds of different places. Now, I think I'm going to invade in Normandy because there are like zone restrictions. So, for example, this zone up here in Normandy has unlimited invasion hexes in this zone, and that is the number of invasion hexes that can be operating at any given time. In addition to that, if I hide the units, you'll see these. You could basically invade anywhere where there is a star. Okay. However, the number in the star represents the beach class, and the level 3 beaches are the best beaches. And you can actually, this zone is the only place in which you can drop 3 invasions in the first turn. So if you were invading somewhere else, now that doesn't mean there won't be a supplementary invasion later in the game, which there was historically, which we'll maybe talk about. You could invade up here by Calais as well. That's not a horrendous idea, but boy, and I'd hate to invade here right in the Netherlands, where it's all swamp. But in any case, this is going to be very stream of consciousness. Like I said, I'm not editing this at all. So hopefully you'll stick with me for the next video, where I'm actually going to start, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. I'm going to waste a lot of time looking up rules, so be prepared. But if you're interested in seeing this get played and hitting at least a virtual table, tune in. Thanks for watching.